For cycle 75 strength day B, we're going to start with a descending ladder. They have 15 minutes on the clock to go from 8 to 1 with 4 different exercises. They're going to do one side and then the other before moving on to the next exercise, starting with a single leg RDL pass. So if you were at the meeting, we talked about the difference between a deadlift and an RDL. So making sure that the RDL is coming just below the knees, they're really driving the hips back, versus when you hit a deadlift, you're starting at the bottom, you're still pushing those hips back, so your back is staying flat, but my knees are a little bit more bent than they are with an RDL because we're taking the weight from the ground all the way up. RDL is not going to the ground. This one's gonna be a single leg RDL pass. So they're gonna have their kettlebell, pack that shoulder, suitcase deadlift to the top, single leg RDL, pass the bell to one side, pass it back. That's considered one, okay? They're gonna do that 8 times on one side, 8 times standing on the other leg, and then they're gonna move on to their bent over row. So bent over row, again, we're gonna have that kettlebell beside us, making sure they're pushing the hips back. When you're demoing these exercises, please do your best to demo the proper technique in getting into the position, right? So you always hear these stories of people who are nice and strong and then they hurt their back putting the weight back on the rack. So it's really important that we demo that this is the proper way to get into your bent over row. So what you're gonna do is suitcase deadlift, stand all the way tall, push the hips back to find that bent over position with that soft bend in the knees, pulling the arm straight to the side of the body. We wanna make sure the elbow's not coming past because then we're gonna stress the front of the shoulder. So making sure they're coming here with a nice strong squeeze into that lat. 8 on one side, 8 on the other. We're then gonna go into a clean and then a push press. So for your clean, 2 feet back, split the difference. You're packing that shoulder, nice big hike. Stand tall to zip up the jacket, making sure that in that backswing, they're tracking above the knees so that that energy is going in that pendulum positioning, not squatting and losing it into the floor. If somebody is not comfortable with a swing clean, which is our preferred standard for class, you can have them come over top of the bell and work on that dead clean so that they're still working on that nice vertical pull and finding that nice strong racked position, okay? 8 on each side or wherever they're at in that descending ladder. They're gonna have to re-clean the bell to hit that push press. So it's a dip, drive, punch. Everything's nice and tall at the top. And then a dip as they catch. If you know that they're trying to work on their overhead, you can have them push press and then actively control that bell down to help improve their overall overhead press. Okay, one thing I will say is typically with a push press, I'm telling them to go a little bit heavier than they would with a strict press because it's ballistic. However, we do have strict pressing in the next work block. So you can make that judgment based off of who's in your class for Strength Day B. Strength Day B second work block, we are doing armor building, which we had a few cycles ago, but instead of the overhead march hold, we are replacing that with a snatch. So it's a 2-1-3 clean press squat, single side, and then you're going to snatch 5 to 10. Okay, so you're gonna go 2 feet back from that bell, pack that shoulder, zip up the jacket as you stand nice and tall, that's 1. Take it back for 2, big exhale press, inhale down, inhale to fill the belly, creating that pressure, hold the breath through the bottom, exhale, stand. Okay, they're gonna do 3 squats on that side. They can then swing switch to hit side 2. That would be your first clean, second clean, or they can put the bell down and then reset. We're gonna use the snatches as a palate cleanse. It's 5 to 10 per side. If they are a skilled member, you could tell them they can do 5 and go heavier. Or if they're learning how to snatch, have them do the 5 and really pay attention to that elbow staying nice and tight as we come up and as we come back down. So we're gonna the shoulder. We're gonna send those hips back, pack the shoulder, big hike, elbow stays tight as you come up, drop the elbow as you come down. Alternate, you can have them rack the bell, come into the back swing, snatch up. Or if you have members who are working on their snatch, feel free to give them the option to do a T-Rex swing, a high pull, and then progress into that full snatch. So again, we would have that T-Rex swing, keeping that elbow in nice and tight. Now we're using the glutes to let that bell float a little bit higher. And then at that last one, punch through, and that's when the bell flips over, okay? So that is your second work block for day B. Third work block on day B is gonna be a short 8-minute AMRAP, where you're alternating between a tactical lunge and renegade rows. So we wanted to continue on the train of lunge plus, right? So we did a tactical clean last cycle, we're doing a tactical lunge. So for this one, you're actually passing the bell under the front leg. So if you're gonna step forward on the right, left arm is gonna have the bell, passes under, you grab, stand tall. Pass under, grab, stand tall. So if I take my bell all the way back here where you can see me, I'm gonna step forward, pass under, and then come tall. If they need to, they can put their foot static, and then step together, step forward. Ideally, we're gonna do a forward move throughout the whole lunge. So trying to get them to a place where they don't have to do the sort of like safety step stop in between lunge 1, lunge 2. And then we have our renegade row. So for the renegade rows, ideally, we're doing these on kettlebells because that's going to challenge the balance a little bit more. Having double kettlebells in your class might be a little challenging. So you can grab a pair of dumbbells, so give them that as a demo option. You can also grab a yoga block or a Reebok stepper to hold the one side as you row on just one. Typically, renegade rows are alternating. So in the ideal scenario, you have 2 kettlebells. You're gonna make sure that you are slightly towards the thumb as you set up so that you can be nice and balanced on those kettlebells. You're gonna find your plank. Feet are gonna be a little bit wider because you're going into essentially a single arm plank here. Big brace of the core. Row that bell to the side of the body. Reset your stability and then find that other side. Okay? So that's gonna be your renegade row. You can have them drop to the knees. If they find it more challenging, instead of giving them a dropping to the knees option if possible, I would have them grab a lighter pair of dumbbells, only because dropping to the knees in a renegade row is gonna really change how much challenge they're putting on their core, but you always have that option.